Unscripted.
So Digital Foundry was actually able to finally test everything when it comes to the PlayStation 5, just like they did with the Xbox Series X, and apparently they have an Xbox Series S as well now, so they're going to be able to test and be able to see exactly what all these consoles are going to be able to do and compare them to each other, all that kind of fun stuff that everybody really likes to sort of shout about and talk about. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out and how that pans out down the road. And, you know, again, it's just going to be one of those things where I think everybody's going to kind of take their own kind of word for it or whatever, but I personally find that to be kind of fascinating to see what differences there's going to be and stuff like that, while other people might look at it as more of like a fanboy type thing. I don't really look at it that way. They're kind of doing a little bit of a service, and at the same time, that service is actually letting us know exactly what we're getting, you know, so that we're not paying for stuff that we're not getting. And I know that sounds silly, but, you know, who else would be checking these things, right? Like, that's the thing that I always say. Like, if it wasn't for a place like Digital Foundry, who else would be actually doing the checking to make sure that the frame rates are where they say they are, and even the resolution, even though I don't really particularly care about resolution, but it still is something that, you know, you feel like if you pay for something and they're promising something, you should get it, and that's the end of it, you know. And I know a lot of times we get like this kind of situation where you know, everybody uses an asterisk, you know, because we're supposed to be getting 4K, but then at the same time it's 4K that's upscaled, or 4K that's this, or, you know, so I mean, that really is in the eye of the beholder. I personally don't particularly care too much about that, but it is interesting, to say the least, to be able to hear what these people are talking, what we're getting, and making sure that it's on par with what we're supposed to be getting, because I feel like that's a very, very important thing as consumers. Now, with that being said, not all the news was good news. Again, you know, they were giving people a little bit of a warning, and particularly if you are people like me who got like new TVs and stuff like that for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and you know, there's some features that just aren't there yet, and so they're letting people know. I don't necessarily look at it as super negative, or they're hating on PlayStation. You know, they're just kind of letting you know, hey, this thing's not there yet. It could definitely be put in there at a future situation or a future time, but as of right now, it's not there yet. So with that being said, let's get right into it. I love this. I love talking about video games. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with yet another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel, and it means a lot to me personally. If you are looking for a way to help out a small little crappy channel like mine, a simple like is all it takes. Honestly, it is. It's all it takes. And with that being said, it's always so much appreciated what you guys do for me and all the support and stuff like that. Shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. So again, we're in a situation where the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 are coming out, and you know, in a day. And again, like I said, they were able to run Assassin's Creed Valhalla on Xbox Series X, and basically they were talking about why variable refresh rate, or VRR, matters. So update, as clarified, Assassin's Creed Valhalla producer was talking about next-gen hardware in general and not specifically about the Xbox Series X game. But anyway, variable refresh rate is going to be extremely important for going into next generation of consoles, and it seems like Assassin's Creed Valhalla on Xbox Series X is a fantastic demonstration of why it's so important. Now, speaking on his Twitter profile, Digital Foundry's John Linneman confirmed that the latest entry in the Ubisoft series has plenty of screen tearing and dips, but without VRR. But it looks flawless on a TV that supports it alongside 120 Hz. He says, if you're playing Assassin's Creed on the Xbox Series X, this is a fantastic demonstration of why VRR matters. Without it, there's plenty of screen tearing and dips, but if your TV supports VRR and 120 Hz, it basically looks flawless to the eye. This will become important this gen. On a related note, it's been officially confirmed by producer of the game in a new interview that Assassin's Creed Valhalla runs a dynamic 4K on Xbox Series X, which is really not too surprising because it runs dynamic 4K on the PlayStation 5 as well. And he says this: for me, the big takeaway of the new generation is to leverage not only the graphical firepower of the consoles, but a lot of the things that will create a better experience overall in terms of greater immersion and more comfort for the players. I think from what I've seen, yes, the next gen is about graphics, but it's also about going to be about comfort, and this is what we're trying to leverage new for Assassin's Creed. There will be shorter loading times and good frame rate, and that make the game a lot more comfortable to play, as well as stuff like draw distance, dynamic 4K, and so on. So a lot of people were really kind of wrongly assuming that, you know, they would have the 4K native version or whatever, and it turns out that's not really the case. So like VRR helps where like frame rates can kind of end up causing a lot of screen tearing and stuff like that. Now the problem with that is on the PlayStation 5, it's not compatible with VRR just yet, which is a little bit of a problem. So obviously the PlayStation 5, Sony's next generation console, was supposed to offer silky smooth 8K resolution. Again, support. I don't think it was really going to ever offer full 8K for games unless it was upscaled, because it's been reported that the PS5 peak is at actually 4K. Now, according to Digital Foundry, Sony's next-gen console is capable, in fact, of 8K. It even says so on the box, but there's no way to enable the feature in the PlayStation 5 settings. Hardly ideal. Now, the review goes on to say that having tried it to get it working on a gigantic LG native 8K screen, the PS5 tops out at 4K resolution. What's more, though, although the PlayStation 5 supports the next-gen HDMI 2.1 interface, there appears to be no way to take advantage of variable refresh rate or auto low latency mode, which is ALLM support. Instead, the review claims users must manually engage game mode for the lowest possible latency. Again, that's not an ideal situation. It all sounds rather familiar. It's because Microsoft's new console is similarly limited to 4K, as they discovered with their Xbox Series X review. It does support, though, VRR and ALLM out of the box. Now, Sony has yet to really comment, but Microsoft said Xbox Series X was designed with the next 8 to 10 years of advancements in mind, and as 8K becomes more widely adopted format, the console will support it. In the meantime, it seems both companies are focused on delivering games in native 4K and at higher frame rates that were previously thought possible on a console, even if that means leaving 8K owners a little disappointed. Now, how many people actually own an 8K console? First of all, I think that's, or an 8K TV, I think that would be incredible expensive right now. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Again, Sony has also kind of mentioned before that this is stuff that could actually come in an update, and that's something that I think a lot of people would maybe look forward to. I think that the VRR is something that should definitely come sooner rather than later. It's something that's very much important. I feel like, especially like for me, I have a TV that supports all that stuff, and I don't know because I don't have my PlayStation 5 just yet, but obviously you want it to be able to do all these things and to play the best. So the fact that they're saying, hey, it doesn't come with all this stuff, and you should just be wary of that. I'm not saying that the PlayStation 5 is a bad console. The PlayStation 5 is the console I'm most excited for, right? It's obviously the one that I'm most excited for, and it's the one that I think I think it's something that, most of my fans, most of you guys and girls are out there are excited for, because at the end of the day, it's really all up to us, and I think it really comes down to the games, and I think that's where the PlayStation really gains an advantage, is when it comes down to the actual games and stuff like that. So hopefully we can continue to see some innovations there. They've even mentioned that for the time being, that they're actually looking to explore the 1440p monitor support, but that their whole thing was to support TV console gamers and that console crowd more so than anything else right now. So I actually do enjoy that, and I do think that that's super important for them to actually do, is go out there and support the console owners who are mostly gaming on TV, and then you can patch in the support for the 1440p monitors and stuff like that, because believe it or not, those are becoming the 144 hertz monitors are becoming more cheaper all the time, and it makes it really easy to sort of have a monitor and the console. Some people actually prefer that if you're doing some kind of competitive gaming and stuff like that. So it is very interesting to see exactly how that's all going to work out, and exactly how Sony plans to continue to doing their updates and stuff like that. But very interesting nonetheless. And also, like I said, this is nothing new. Like, sometimes consoles don't launch with everything the way that we would like them to, and that is a bit unfortunate, but it doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way, and it doesn't mean that they're not going to go in there and make things better, and sort of go out there and kind of make things more easily feasible as gamers. Anything that makes things accessible and things like that, I feel like, yeah, that's something that they're going to do. All these companies are going to do that. They're going to pay attention to what fans are asking for, and I think that's a smart move where all parties are concerned. So I do trust that Sony will do the right thing, and I do trust that all these features will come. They're not going to be there at launch. I don't know exactly what games are supporting all this stuff to begin with. I guess we'll have to let the smoke all clear and see what happens, but it is good to see that they are at least listening and paying attention to what's going on, and hopefully they can get everything kind of straightened out sooner rather than later. I know for me personally, it doesn't dampen my excitement. It's just very interesting to see that things that we thought maybe were there or whatever just aren't necessarily there just yet. But again, I do hope that this is something that we see really soon. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this. Please let me know. You can hit me up on Twitter at @_Crapgamer, Xbox Live, MOH space Crapgamer, PSN just Crapgamer. I respond to everybody, so shoot me a message or whatever. I would appreciate that. Take a minute to consider subscribing. I would love that. And overall, I just hope you guys all have a great time. Next generation, whatever you get, whatever you play on, and stay safe, happy, and healthy. That's super important as well. So thank you so much for rocking out with me. Please have a fantastic day. Rack 'em up. Game on, my friends. Game on. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.